Going to get going in about 5 or 10 minutes, everybody. 5 or 10 minutes. We do have a little wiggle room with the time. Luckily, we're not Safair or Airlink, and we don't have to take off exactly on time. But everyone, if we could start wrapping up and grabbing a drink and taking a seat, that would be amazing. So we're going to get going in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Grab yourselves a drink and take your seats. Thank you. As you can see, we have just about a full house. That speaker's not working. That speaker's not working. Apparently it's not working. Good afternoon. So, just want to check, is it working? Is it working? Hello, 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 hello. Only this one. All right, we're going to give it 5 minutes for a bit of a tech stop, and then we're going to take off in 5 minutes. Tech stop and take off. Thank you. other half. We can't get to the other half. Comms are. I'm going to try to do that. How's that? Tell me, can you hear me down there? On that side? Can you hear me? No. Don't worry.
Toets 1 2. Speaker nader gebring. Toets 1 2.
Getting there with the sound, everybody. Thank you very much for your patience. Pizza will be coming out soon, so there's that. Okay? Free pizza.
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2.
Testing 3, 4. Hey, yo. There we go. All right. All right, all right, all right. Welcome, everybody. We have liftoff for the Wonderboom Safety Symposium. Welcome. Hey, hey, hey. I'd like to extend a massive thank you for everybody here tonight. Congratulations and welcome. Congratulations on doing yourself this favor of coming to learn more about how to be a safer pilot, a safer aviator, a safer AMO, ATNS, ARCC, everybody here that we have tonight. So congratulations on doing yourself this favor. Give yourselves a round of applause. Why are we here? The Safety Symposium is here. It's an idea that was sparked by us. In fact, it was actually in this restaurant, and I was sitting with Brendan from Blue Chip, CFI, Chief from Blue Chip, and he said, you know what we need? We need an airport-wide safety meeting that everybody attends and everybody can learn from. I said, you know what I'm going to do? Just that. I'm going to get everybody here. And we did. And then planning about this event started, and started putting arrangements together. That's what planning is. And I was chatting to Christian about the catering and a couple of other things, and a certain gentleman, Rehan van Tonder, walked into the restaurant and came and greeted Christian. And Christian was like, hey man, you know who that guy is? I was like, no idea. Sorry, Rehan, I didn't actually know. He said, no, he like started rattling off a bit of a bio and a bit of a CV. I said, let's go talk to him, come. And we went, and we came and we sat at a table over here, and I introduced myself and what we do. And before I even said something, Rehan said, you know what we should do? We should get like an airport-wide safety event where we get all the VIPs and all the right people and put it together and have it here in this restaurant. I said, Rehan, we're doing it, man. We're putting it together. It's happening in a few weeks' time. Don't you want to be one of my guest speakers? Obviously, within half an hour of meeting the man, he agreed, and here we are today, and he's going to be giving us one of his talks. So big round of applause for Rehan, everybody. A quick note of thanks, in fact, a very hearty note of thanks to all of our sponsors here today. Without you, this obviously wouldn't be possible. Pizza ain't actually free, just so you know. But so I would like us to extend a hearty thank you to Blue Chip Aviation, Blue Chip Flight School. Thank you, Renelle, and your team very much. Big round of applause, everybody. Blue Chip. Let's hear it, Ijaz. Woo! And then I'd like to say thank you to Safety First Aviator. So in this room, everybody, Safety First Aviator was born of some very experienced, very high-level people, and it was an idea that was born 10 years ago, I'm told today, in this very person's home, who is Santjie White, who I think you all know, and if you don't, you should, because she's amazing, and she's your angel, and she's been watching over you for many years already. And Safety First Aviator was actually born in her home. So without Santjie, we wouldn't have Safety First Aviator. So everybody, round of applause for Safety First Aviator. Spreading the gospel of safety around South Africa and the rest of the world. Hey, there we go. To Infinite Aviation, Megan and your team, thank you very much for your contribution. In fact, it was on the same day that we met Rehan from Tonder that Megan was just sitting at the same table and said, I'm in too, I want in. And I said, absolutely, no problem, you're there. So thank you very much, Megan and her team. Big round of applause, everybody. Bona Game Lodge is a 4-star game lodge and has a 1.3-kilometer tar runway at their lodge. So please make sure you visit it because it's amazing. What changed? Is everybody okay? Is everybody all right? Okay. Please make sure you visit the Bona Game Lodge. The airfield is amazing. They've got awesome game drives and all that kind of thing. And they're a big sponsor of our biggest prize tonight. So Bona Game Lodge, we thank you and honor you. Big round of applause. Thank you. And then we have the YouTube live stream here. So everybody here is going to be on TV. I hope none of you are wanted by the FBI because it's live, Lynette. This is being streamed live, so welcome to all of our YouTube subscribers. Thank you very much. I'd very much like to say a big thank you to Bernard Else, specifically to him from Up Next Digital, who are the sponsors, and he in fact rented all of this, or a lot of this equipment to make it possible, and that's a massive sponsorship contribution from his side. So thank you very much, Bernard Else from Up Next Digital. Just very quickly before we finish there, his YouTube channel is Cleared for Takeoff. It's called Cleared for Takeoff. Please subscribe. It's really amazing. And Bernard is actually also the brains and the good looks behind the Aviation Webcams project. So if you go on aviationwebcams.org.co.za, aviationwebcams.co.za, that's where all the aviation webcams around all the airfields around the country are here, are put there, and that's Bernard's doing, everybody. So massive safety contribution, huge round of applause. Bigger than that, big round of applause. All right, yeah. Here we go, that's the team. And then we have the WAG. The WAG is the WhatsApp. No, it's not. It's called the Wonderboom Airport Interest Group. And it's all the owners and operators of the Wonderboom Airport that band together and have a voice about talking about airport issues and all the amazing things. In fact, they were responsible for maintaining a very important thing at this airfield, which is the landing fees discount for all students. And without the landing fees discount for all of you students, you'd be hussing even more through for landing fees, and that would also hamper the training ability of this airport 100%. So to WAG, thank you very much. We honor you. And guys, I'm actually joining I've been co-opted onto the WAG committee by mistake. I don't really know how I got there, but basically we're going to be coming around to all of you guys and all the operators, and we're going to be just doing a lot more activity around that. The website's going to be open and all really, going to be making it quite amazing. So the WAG is there to support you in aviation at Wonderboom. So look out for it and join up if you can. A lot of you guys did indicate if you do want more information or to become members of WAG, so look out. Then we have Legend Sky Aviation. Legend Sky Aviation represented here today by Matthew Rushenbaum, who registered at 5:05 yesterday. Thank you, Matthew. And as one of the big main prize sponsors tonight, we'd like to honor Legend Sky Aviation, everybody. And Villa San Giovanni is obviously the venue that we're at. And I can tell you that pizzas are definitely not free, but they gave us a really, really, really good price as their sponsorship. And we would like to honor them. I mean, what a wonderful restaurant that's been here for almost over 40 years. So I think that Christian and his family and his team are doing an absolutely magnificent job. So a huge round of applause for VSG. And then we have Vector Aviation, your friendly aviation insurance broker. Hey, these guys keeping insurance premiums down as far as possible as they can for you guys. And thank you very much for your sponsorship here today. It is definitely not going unnoticed. Thank you, Rehan, and your team. We appreciate you. Thank you. And then last but absolutely by no means least, we have Pilot Insure. Pilot Insure, your friendly loss of license aviation insurance broker. Pilot Insure has recently taken office on this airport. So you'll see on the tables around you there is a inquiry form. If you're interested in loss of license or know anyone who is, and you want to learn a little bit more about how it works, I've got a couple clients in this room. Any? Marcus, hello, julle, Maritza, was jy? If you want to learn more about aviation loss of license, please fill in the form, and I'll be happy to tell you more of how it works and how it can benefit you. Okay, so Pilot Insure, thank you very much. Give myself a high five. Hold on. There we go. Okay, without further ado, just a little bit of housekeeping, everybody. Okay, just again, to honor all of you guys are the cogs in this machine. You guys need to make you guys are, I'm preaching to the converted here. But hopefully some nuggets of good wisdom and information are going to be dropped here tonight that will make one or two or three, hopefully all of you, better pilots, better aviators, that will help you make a better decision in the near or distant future and help you to save your own life or the lives of your lives of the people around you. So congratulations on coming here and becoming not just a cog in the machine, but actually polishing your own and developing and nurturing your own part of this whole aviation system, this aviation machine that you're a part of. So congratulations to you guys. It's really important that we keep sharpening that axe, making our tools better and just becoming better and better aviators. In fact, general aviation in this country needs you to do that. It needs you to strengthen yourself and strengthen your operation. Show up and be professional. Show up and be safe. Have airmanship or airwomanship, depending on what you prefer. But just be a better person in the air, and this is what this actual purpose of this event is for, is to help you guys sharpen your axes. So congratulations again on being here. Okay. All right, a bit of housekeeping. Everybody knows where the toilets are. I'm sure they haven't moved in the last 20 years, so they're here. Pizzas are free, but drinks are not, so please make sure that your drinks are paid for by your own tab. And I'd like to request that you tip your waiters handsomely, please. They do a good job, and honor them in the same way we would honor you. Again, this event is being live streamed. Shout out to the YouTube subscribers. And yes, so the speaker lineup is as follows. First off, we have Karen Matthews talking about runway safety and radio procedures and how we can sharpen that axe. followed by Rob Jonkers, and Rob Jonkers will be talking about slow flight. And everyone think, well, how exciting can slow flight be? Well, that's where the problems come in. Is on the downwind leg, or on the final, or on the base, or on short finals, and making sure that you can land safely. Getting back on the ground is not optional. So you need to be able to do it well. And that's what Rob's going to be talking about. Santjie White will then be talking about pre-planning makes for proper precision flying for people. All the P's. Santjie will then be doing a talk about pre-planning, and then Rehan van Tonder will be talking about how being an aerobatic pilot will make you a safer pilot. And then we will have a Q&A discussion. So guys, please remember, if you have any questions, any burning questions, you can ask the speakers. But we will have a Q&A session afterwards. So there'll be a panel discussion here for about 20 or so minutes just for everyone to ask and answer some questions. Okay? And then we're having the main prize draw. So, with that, last little bit of housekeeping. You'll see there's other little QR codes on, just little square ones like this. Please scan those. What that is, that's the Pilot Insure one you're looking at, but there are other ones. If you scan those, that's a link to all of our sponsors' socials, all their Instagrams and Facebooks and that. So please go and show them some love and support by logging in and giving them a like and a comment and a share. Okay. And there's loss of license inquiry forms on the long tables. And those are the prizes. We'll go through those a bit later. And with that, I would like to introduce our first speaker of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Corin Matthews, a seasoned air traffic controller boasting an impressive 25 years of expertise within the aviation industry. Not unseasoned. A qualified professional across various disciplines, including tower, approach, procedural, and special events control. Corin can actually do the tower or do the AFIS on an air show or a special air event. She brings an absolute wealth of knowledge and experience to the industry. Corin also serves as an on-the-job training instructor with a professional training diploma through IATA and holds the esteemed position of being a designated examiner on behalf of the CAA. Her remarkable expertise and unwavering dedication have positioned her as a respected leader in the field. Corin will be speaking about runway safety and general radio procedures for this event. Thank you very much, everybody.
Good evening, everybody. I am very surprised at the turnout, but I'm very excited because now that I've got you all together, I can abuse you all at the same time, instead of one by one on the frequency. All right, so we are going to speak about the art of position reporting in aviation. So, accurate and timely position reports in aviation is the crux of where all safety starts. Inaccurate or incorrect position reports can lead to safety events. So, why is a position report so important? It doesn't only help air traffic control manage the circuit or the traffic in the area, but it also ensures that the pilots have got situational awareness of conflicting traffic in the immediate vicinity. What a position report entails, it is a transmission that is made by an aircraft that provides information about your position, altitude, speed, and any other relevant information that air traffic control requires to manage you and to make you safe and to keep the rest of the people safe that is flying with you in the same airspace. type of position reports. It's scheduled position reports. It is transmitted at predetermined times or along significant points en route. Then you get your non-scheduled position reports, which is when air traffic control will tell you where to report, and then your updated position reports en route. This might seem like it's not that important, but I think the question that a lot of people ask is the contents of a position report and why it is so important. So ICAO has come up with standard ICAO phraseology. This is very important for everybody. There is method behind the madness of using standard phraseology. It is to avoid any confusion, to make it short and sweet, and to avoid any ambiguity. It is to clarify and to make position reports safe at the end of the day. So when it comes to radio communication best practice, at the end of the day, there is a couple of things that needs to be said about the the art of transmitting. So the best practice would be, first of all, to listen out on frequency before we transmit. This I always found that it is very important because at Wonderboom, because we are such a busy airspace, there is a lot of double transmissions. And I find that it is most probably because we don't listen out, we switch the frequency on and we start speaking immediately instead of listening out. Then, if you speak on the radio, speak a normal conversational tone, not too fast, not too loud, and also not too soft. Round your words nicely and clearly and distinctly so that we all can hear what you're saying. Using proper microphone technique, very, very important. So if your microphone is too far away from your mouth, we're not going to hear. If it's too close, there's going to be a lot of feedback on the frequency. So please, for the instructors, get your students' radio technique sorted out, your transmitting technique, get it sorted out. And then prepare yourself. Know what you're going to expect. That is very important. If you do make a mistake at the end of the day, just say correction and proceed with the correct message. Know the phonetic alphabet. Is there a fox in the phonetic alphabet? No, there's not. There's not a fox. There's a foxtrot, but there's not a fox. So before you get airborne, mainly most of the techniques that we use, or most of the words, will be used in phonetic alphabet, and it will be spoken digit for digit, except normal words that we use on a daily basis, like ILS, VOR, that will be spoken in normal English. For the rest, it is the phonetic alphabet that is used for transmitting most of the time. So then, when it comes to numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, when you pronounce it, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I hear a lot of non-standard numbers on frequency. And then when you transmit a frequency, it's the frequency and the word decimal to make sure that you know what the frequency is doing. All right. So when to do position reports. So if you're en route, you will transmit your position reports at the reporting points, including departure and destination aerodromes. You will, in non-radar areas, transmit every 10 minutes, and in radar every 5 to 8 minutes. The transmission will be done on your report. All communication in aviation is in the form of an air rep. Let's start with who is sending the message. This is the aircraft's call sign. This is where we start. Your call sign can be what is painted on the aircraft's tail, or it can be an operating agency, and followed by a flight number. So basically, Zulu Sierra, when you do your first transmission, full call sign, Zulu Sierra, Alpha Bravo Charlie, and thereafter we can abbreviate it to the last 3 digits only. The station you're calling, there's various stations, starting with your normal tower, followed by the name of the tower. It could be a sector, a radar sector. It could be approach. There's information. It could be a ground frequency. It could be an apron frequency. So make sure that you are aware of what station you are calling, what the frequency is, of course, and what you need to know about that station. Followed by your aircraft type. Aircraft type according to ICAO. ICAO aircraft type designator. It is published. Use that when you make a transmission in your air rep. Heading includes aircraft's heading estimate and your next position, followed by altitude, position report, and speed if required. If there is any weather en route that is significant, that can be reported in the form of an air rep as well. So, the importance of air reps, obviously, accurate position report helps to manage safety and keep the traffic safe. So, air traffic control uses this to manage and keep the traffic safe. Obviously, it avoids mid-air collisions, which we don't even want to think about, and it's for better flight planning en route. Common errors that we pick up on the radio very often. Complete and accurate position reports. Very, very, very important. Or incorrect phraseology that is used. And or the transmission of the report, position report that is done at the wrong time. So, we talk a lot about pre-flight and planning before we get started on a flight. And it's actually simple and it's basic. Because the more you prepare yourself before the flight, and I think Santjie is also going to talk about that later, the better you will know what the air traffic control is expecting of you, radio-wise. So, basics, before we start. What is the runway in use? What taxiways lead to the runway in use that I can expect in my clearance? What frequencies do I need to know for this flight? Will the circuit pattern be to the left or to the right? Then the contents of an ATC clearance. What is compulsory to read back? The compulsory read back is the runway in use, QNH, altitude, direction of the turn after departure, your next reporting point, your takeoff clearance, your landing clearance, your touch and go clearance. And also, if you get a transponder code, it's not on the slide, I apologize, but your transponder code, that is all compulsory to read back to ATC. Frequency, if applicable, and then your clearance limit. Let's talk about a clearance limit. A clearance limit for somebody that is on departure is usually the runway holding point. Do we all know what a runway holding point looks like? Very important. If the line is broken, you cross it. If the line is solid, you don't cross it. Very important. So your clearance limit for departure will usually be the holding point of the runway for departure. When you taxi and you need to cross a runway or enter a runway, the wording from the ATC will be, you are clear to enter the runway, that is applicable, or you are clear to cross this runway. The runway designator will always be in that clearance, and your clearance limit will be included in your clearance. So, we spoke, and then obviously before your flight, if you know what the CTR looks like, this is just a diagram that we use. It is available for the guys at the flight schools. Simple, but know your airspace before you depart. So, Wonderboom CTR and the reporting points that we use. So we've got the Redepla Dam, the Bonnecourt Dam over there. Sorry, let's go one back. How do I go back? The little button. There we go. Okay, so the Cullinan Dam is outside the Wonderboom CTR, but you will report over the Cullinan Dam to get your clearance to enter the Wonderboom CTR. The Redepla Dam we use as a reporting point, very important. The Bonnecourt Dam, the Rooiwal Power Station, and the extent of the CTR to the west is about 8 nautical miles, and to the east 14 nautical miles. The moment you are familiar and you know what the airspace looks like, we've also got, it will help you with your flight. Know where the GF1 and GF2 is, the appropriate frequencies before you get airborne. Also, we have got standard in- and outbound reporting points that we use at Wonderboom. So, the Rooiwal Power Station, we use a lot for the traffic that goes to GF1. Depending on what runway is in use, the exit point will be either to the west or to the east of the runway. This is for lateral separation, because sometimes we can vertically separate and sometimes we can't. So then we will use lateral separation. Your entry point from the GF1 over here is 5 miles to the north. So you come in directly over the power station. Very important. When runway 29 is in use, you will exit via Bonnecourt Dam towards 2 miles west of the power station. Runway 11 in use, you will exit 2 miles to the east of the power station. Southeast of Marmalade is another exit point, and then Roslyn towards the west of the field. And then obviously towards Cullinan Dam. This is standard routings that we use. Lateral separation as opposed to vertical separation that we use to enhance and to ensure safety for the lot of traffic that is in and out at Wonderboom. What does the circuit pattern look like? This sounds like it's very basic, but I can promise you that I've seen that the traffic flow at Wonderboom, sometimes if you ask a pilot, are you left downwind or right downwind, then they go like, I'm left downwind, but the ADF shows that they're on the right downwind because they don't know that if you say that you're on left downwind, the runway is supposed to be to your left. Basics. Okay, so let's see. Air traffic control would choose the runway in use according to the wind direction. So the right runway will be most in line with the wind direction, unless that runway is not available for some reason or another. Your compulsory reporting points in the circuit is on downwind and base only. So in this case, runway 09, the wind is approaching from that direction. Runway 09 will be in use. It will take off into wind, and then your first turn to the left, the circuit in this case is left, will be the crosswind leg. Why? Because the wind will come from across you. Turn on to downwind, your wind will be behind you. And then your base leg is your last turn before your final approach turn. So this is the basics of a circuit pattern. When you're ready for departure, takeoff, your takeoff clearance or a line-up and wait clearance will be issued, or even a conditional clearance will be issued by air traffic control. Now, conditional clearance has always got a condition to it, and air traffic control needs to have both the aircraft in sight, that is all aircraft or the vehicle or the helicopter in sight, that affects the condition of a conditional clearance. Conditional clearance, do you have the traffic on final approach in sight? Affirm. Behind that traffic, line up and wait behind. You need to read back at least one behind, but preferably two, and follow the instruction. So, your takeoff clearance will also be issued once the conflicting is absolved, and your takeoff clearance will include your next position report, which is most probably on downwind, or when you're exiting the CTR, it will be where to report outbound next. Can we now talk about traffic management in the circuit at Wonderboom? So, when you are on downwind, you will be sequenced to final approach. You will get a number to final. Report final approach, runway 29, you're number 5. Number 4 is the 172 ahead of you on downwind. So we do get very busy in the circuit at Wonderboom, and sequencing is one of the tools that we use to keep the traffic flowing. I find that the RT with regards to sequencing has become a little bit difficult for some people at Wonderboom. So let's just touch base on that. When we get sequenced to final approach, please don't read the aircraft type or the aircraft's position back. You are cluttering the airwaves. So, final approach number 3, you read back final approach number 3, looking for traffic or traffic in sight. That's all I want to hear, nothing else. Not I will follow the Piper Cherokee on the lay downwind. Really, I hear that on a daily basis. Why? Why are we doing this? It is busy, so let's just keep the RT nice and standard and short. But when it comes to the sequencing, and we are not ready to give you a number to final, you will most probably get report ready for the base turn. When the circuit gets very congested, and it does at Wonderboom, follow your last instruction that was given to you by air traffic control. If you extend, you extend. Please do not orbit out of your own accord unless there is a possible collision. A possible collision that you need to avoid. Follow your last instruction. Extend if you have to. Unfortunately, it's the way we try to manage as good as we can, and I'm here tonight to see if we can reach a consensus when it gets very busy. First of all, how many instructors are here? Not enough, apparently. Oh, yeah, I can see you. Hello. Hello. Stand by one for the questions. Okay, so I want to request from the flight schools that when the frequency gets very busy, can the instructors just please take over the radio work? Please do not, it's not the time, it's not the place for your student to actually carry on with the radio work, especially if they're still not so fluent. When it gets busy, I sometimes say on frequency, please can the instructors just take over? Then with regards to solo consolidation in the circuit, we have reached the point where, because it's so busy, we will not accommodate more than 2 solo consolidations in the circuit. It's just become too busy and too dangerous. We all need to be safe. So for the flight schools that are here, please, you have to communicate with us if you want to send solo consolidations in the circuit. And we will manage that accordingly. So obviously when you are on final approach, then you will either get your landing clearance, your touch and go clearance, or continue the approach. Here again, I want to speak to the instructors. Clearly, if you're on a 3-mile final approach, and there's traffic on the runway. Can you maybe just teach your student to hold off on the radio call just for a couple of seconds, because all I'm going to tell you is continue the approach. We are wasting RT space. So if that is possible, I know you need to get your position reporting because the circuit is very busy, but remember, we are monitoring the final approach path at all times. So don't land without a clearance. Go around rather if it gets to that point. And then when ATC initiates a go around, please also, your students need to go around, not overhead the runway, but to the dead side of the runway, because that is very important, particularly if an aircraft is getting airborne below for some reason or another. So let's talk about a TBAR broadcast. Traffic information broadcast by aircraft in uncontrolled airspace. So a TBAR broadcast is used generally when you are in uncontrolled airspace, and it is done in the following manner. You will address the traffic in the area that you are speaking to. Traffic in the Pretoria GF1, or traffic in the Hartbeespoort Dam area. Address the traffic in the area so that people that listen out on frequency know, I'm at Hartbeespoort Dam, he's in Pretoria GF1, I don't have to listen, he's not conflicting traffic. So that is the starting point for a TBAR broadcast. Your call sign, your aircraft type, your position, your altitude, where you are from, where you are going to. So if I am, in my mind, as listen out on frequency, you can see he's going to route from there to there. I can draw a line. Okay, he's going to pass me most probably in that position as opposed to that position. So very important, where you're from, where you're going to. End your transmission with your call sign only. Describe your position that you are in so that other people can recognize. In other words, familiar press. The crater in the Pretoria GF1 is something that everybody knows that regularly flies there. What is there? But if you say I'm over when Pizza Plaas or the Peach Farm, nobody's going to know where you are. And then avoid using words like currently, coming up, routing to yours. I'm not yours. Any traffic, please acknowledge. Why are we saying this? Any traffic, please acknowledge. If your position report is accurate, traffic that is conflicting to you will speak to you. It is just, it's verbose. It clutters the airway. Don't do it. And then there's also other words that we hear. When we speak about standard phraseology, there's a whole list. I'm not going to go through the whole list tonight. I will be making my services available for proper radio work in the future. But when we stick to standard phraseology, the say again part that we hear very frequently now at Wonderboom is an indication to me that the students do not prepare properly, because they go like, report on final approach from Metuna, you're number one. Say again, really? What else must I say? It's not as if we talk too fast, it's just, if you prepare yourself and you know what to expect, then the radio work will automatically. Similarly to when you start taxing out. Runway 29 is in use, this taxiway, that taxiway feeds the runway. So I'm going to most probably get this clearance. The preparation before the flight is very important. So, what is the other word that I hear often on frequency nowadays? Please repeat. Whoever taught that to a student, I'm going to come down and break your fingers. Please repeat. We don't say please repeat. Okay, so we don't say please repeat. The say again, also remember, if you ask me to say again, then it is, I must repeat the whole message. So try to avoid and try rather to say again after. So read back what you have copied, and then say again after Q&H, for instance. Otherwise, I've got to repeat the whole message. Long story short, conclusion, prepare before you fly. Know what to expect. Do accurate position reports, use standard phraseology, adhere to ATC instructions, and practice before you speak on the radio. I just want to touch on two other things that is not part of the presentation that came up with regards to the frequency congestion. The frequency congestion at Wonderboom is really become a big problem. So what we are asking is definitely at this point when it gets congested that the instructor should take over, that the RT should be short and sweet, extend if you have to, don't orbit, and don't join without a clearance. That is the most important. When the frequency, you can also, if you route outbound to the GFA, and the frequency is too busy and you cannot do a frequency change, call on the ground frequency and just say to ground, just tell tower I'm outbound, the frequency was too busy. Similarly, when the frequency is blocked, go over to ground frequency and say, look, the frequency is blocked, we can't hear, and we will relay. ATC will make a plan. We will either transfer everybody over to the ground frequency or we will relay information. So that I want to put in place as a safety measure for you all that fly regularly and you are sitting in this congested airspace. Also, when we talk about radio communication failure, so the law says if you are in uncontrolled airspace, you land in uncontrolled airspace. If you already joined the circuit, just carry on and land. Do your broadcast as if the ATC can still hear you, and then very important, what do we need to squawk? Do we know the squawk codes for emergencies, for radio communication failure? Any takers? 7600 for communication failure. Keep on transmitting because you don't know if I can still hear you. And then there's also something that we use occasionally, which is called it's like a speechless code. I will try to find out if you can still hear me when I'm talking. If you read this transmission, click twice on the frequency. And thereafter, I will put a speechless code in place. 2 clicks for yes and 3 clicks for no. So this is just at very extreme cases. For the rest, you land in uncontrolled airspace. If you want to need to come in to join the circuit without, you need to have some form of communication in place. The guys are using WhatsApp and telephone communication, and with pre-planning, we allow it, but 90% of the time, this circuit is too busy and we cannot afford. So if you know what happens on a radar screen when you start squawking, the right transponder code, we will be immediately alerted by Johannesburg that there is a communication failure or an emergency approaching. Obviously, emergencies are completely different. If you are in an emergency situation, it depends on whether you're VFR or IFR, then the scenario changes completely. So, the standard phraseology, unfortunately, doesn't cover everything or every conceivable situation. So sometimes ATC will revert and go over to normal English. I know you've got a lot of questions. There's a couple of burning questions in the back over there. David has requested that afterwards when we have the panel discussion, if you guys can then please just forward your questions after that, unless, is it okay for him to? Okay, 2 questions. I'll take 2. Yes, runway 06. Okay, I think he said, just correct me if I'm wrong, you wanted to know about extending the left downwind for runway 06 because the mountain is in the way. Is that what you're asking? Waterkloof airspace as well, yes. Of course, we've got bordering airspace with Waterkloof, so you can't really extend that much. If you go over the Magaliesberg Mountain, you start entering the airspace. Runway 06 is very difficult, not only for you guys, but also for us to control because of the limited airspace. So we did actually, at a stage, think that maybe we should restrict to not 5 in the circuit on runway 06 to avoid that. But then we were told, no, we have to do it. So we try the best. Unfortunately, if you have to go a little bit over the mountain, then Waterkloof's airspace, fortunately, is not that busy. So we will try to bring you back as soon as we can. But if the circuit does extend, I believe that they are monitoring on radar, and they will say that they've got close proximity operations or that there is airspace infringement. Try to avoid it, but yes, unfortunately, it's not much because of the aerodrome layout that we can do about that. Second question, anybody? Okay, good. Oh, over there. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
The controllers get about aircraft performance, aircraft specific types.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They ask you basic speed, and then you've got to slow down for Wonderboom, and you've got a trainee on frequency that doesn't understand aircraft performance, and they ask you to fit in behind 3172s, and you're doing 195 knots, slowing down. It's chaos.
Most of my darling, if an alien could do it, you can do it. I promise you. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I received 3 clearances about 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
to join the right-hand downward when I was over at the N1 quarry,
Yeah.
and it's actually
I know
instructed to
exactly.
take over as
Yes, I know exactly the situation that you're talking about. But just like flight training, an air traffic control trainee reaches a point where the instructor has to, we do about 400 hours before we send an air traffic controller, just so for everybody's peace of mind. We don't stick him in there for 100 hours and then send him solo, not at Wonderboom. We do 400 hours. And there's different position and different stages during the training where we have to do an assessment. And an assessment is a very difficult thing to manage for OJTI. Also, it is difficult for a designated examiner. That specific day that happened, you have to see if the student is going to correct the mistake. Because if you just jump in the whole time, you're not going to make sure that the student understands what is busy happening. So that's all I can say. So that specific day, I profusely apologize. So, but it was that level of the training. That stage of the training was just before we decided it's ready to go solo. So, yes, that we all have a good understanding. I invite you, please guys, come and visit the tower. And then you can also see what we do and what we have to deal with. Question?
145 is a 24-hour frequency. We are monitoring it. If you're lost, call us. Karan was going on the squawks. If you can squawk that, that's also good. But we are approachable. FIS frequency is closed at 6. So if you're doing a cross country after 6 and you get lost, 1245 or 1267. And please use heading and flight level in your readbacks and your full call signs. Karan was touching on the RT. That is our biggest problem with most low-time pilots. Call sign and 120. What does that mean? Use the full thing, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Puvi. We really appreciate all you guys here. Later on, you're going to hear from Santjie, also knowledgeable, and the guys from our CC. That is why we are all here. So we will elaborate a little bit more on emergencies during the latter part of today's presentation. I thank you very much for having me. And see, I'm not as quiet as everybody thought I was. Eh? Thank you.
Hello, hello. Thank you very much, Corin. I think a lot of us picked up some good golden nuggets there. And yeah, as Corin says, there's power in brevity. So don't be verbose and talk too much like I'm doing right now. Hey. All right. Next up, everybody, we have an initial prize giving. So a prize draw. And this draw is a lucky draw. And I don't know if anyone's noticed yet, but if you look under your side plate that's in front of you, you might have a prize. Who's won? Just kidding, there's nothing there. No, I'm joking, we do. Hey, we've got a prize. Puvi, come up, let's see what it is. Can we have, hey, there we go. Everybody, prize winners, please come to the front. My wife Laura is gonna. Yeah. Congrats, well done. Come to the front. We're gonna just put you guys in order. So we want to put everybody in order of the prizes that you're getting. So, and then we want to take photos of everybody as well. So we'll come around to where, Ethel? Over here in the front? Right here? Okay, so the couple of prizes that you won, what did you win? We've got a hamper. So there were 5 hampers given out by the Aero Club. Thank you very much, Rob, and your team from the Aero Club. In the hamper was a Aero Club cap and a book of the centenary of the 100 years celebration of the Aero Club, which is in there, as well as a logbook. So everybody gets a free logbook. Well, not everybody, but all the hamper prize winners. So we have 5 prize winners. Hampers, please hand them over. Leandra, come and stand here in the front. Congrats, Leandra. Big round of applause, everybody. Chomarelo, Puvi 1-1. Congrats. What else was there? Yeah, you must. Exactly. That's the whole point. If you've already got a logbook, donate it to some up-and-coming aspiring pilot. So, yeah, that's it. Go in there. There we go. Another hamper. Anyone else win a hamper? We should have at least one more. What did you win? You got the fuel voucher. That's cool. Wait there. What did you get? Another hamper. All right, great. So we got the winners there. Rob, do you just want to get in on that photo over there for us, please? We're waiting for a 5th. Look under the plates around you. If you haven't got one under yours, then someone else must have one next to you. Come, Clinton. Hey? Must be one of these tables here. There we go. We have a winner, everybody. The 5th hamper winner. There we go. Thank you very much, Rob. Yeah. There we go. Congratulations. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, that's electronic. Sorry about that, Bernard. Do we still have connection? Oh, okay. That was the that was the YouTube. All right. Okay, so thank you very much. Bernard, just can they do the one photo while you fix that? Fine. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much to the Aero Club. Well done, guys. And then we have more prize winners. We have a VSG dinner voucher valued at $500. Oh, wait, well, let's do this one first. This is a fuel voucher. So whatever fuel you want to buy, man, MoGas, Jet A1, Avgas, whatever you want. This is 1,000 rands worth of fuel from Pilot Insure, everybody, as a sponsored prize. Congratulations. There we go. Come, let's do a photo over here. Let's hand over the voucher. There we go. Just we'll do that there like that. There we go. One more. Excellent. Yeah, Ethel likes to take some photos. There we go. Okay, congrats.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. So, okay. All right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good. Okay. All right, and then one more prize voucher. One is the VSG Villa San Giovanni dinner voucher awarded to
Tapiwa.
Tapiwa, everybody. Round of applause. Congratulations. Let's do a photo. All right, there. This is going in the newspapers, eh? International.
That'll be awesome.
Congrats, man.
Thank you very much.
Well done. Enjoy it. Okay.
Now I can gain some weight.
There we go. All right. Okay. So with that, we will be going to our next speaker. And I think you can all see that the pizzas have arrived. So very, very nice. Please help yourself to pizzas, everybody. Yeah, there we go. Right, our next speaker is Mr. Rob Jonkers. Rob, please come up. I have your bio here, right here. Please, everybody, a round of applause for Rob. Sorry, Rob, I'm just getting your bio here. I'm going to introduce you in 1 second. Right. Rob Jonkers. Right. Introducing Rob Jonkers, everybody. Rob is a seasoned aviator, not like Corin, who is not yet seasoned. And Rob has been flying for 40 years, correct? Since 1983. So, since 1980. Okay, so longer than I've been on this planet, Rob has been flying an aircraft for. So lots of awesome experience and information to impart. Aviator extraordinaire and safety advocate. Rob's topic today is going to be slow flying. With a remarkable career spanning over 40 years, Rob Jonkers has made an indelible contribution to the aviation industry. As an aviator and extraordinaire dedicated to safety, he has been instrumental in shaping safety protocols and fostering innovation within the field. Rob's talk on slow flying promises to be enlightening, offering unique insights derived from his extensive experience. And Rob is not only a brilliant pilot, but the chairman of the Aero Club, which is the one organization that is fostering and nurturing general aviation in this country, and we have a lot to thank Rob for and his team, which really do a hell of a lot of work behind the scenes, and it actually goes unnoticed, to be honest. And I like to bring a spotlight to it every opportunity that I can. So everybody, please give Rob a huge round of applause and thank him for his awesome contribution. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, thank you, David. Yeah, so I think the topic slow flight, it doesn't sound very sexy, does it? But it is a flight regime that is not very well known or practiced. And it is something that I think you all should look at in terms of your flying activities. Okay, so first of all, what was the inspiration of doing this talk? This is the second time I'm doing this talk. I did this talk for the EAA some years ago, but it was inspired by, I think most of you will know him, a guy called Jim Davis. He wrote a series of articles in the early 2000s for SA Flyer, when it was still in print form. I was fortunate at the time to take a copy of, in fact, I tore out the pages of that particular article because it made a lot of sense to me, especially at the time I was busy practicing for rally flying. And what he says here, being able to fly slowly may save your life. It is a vital skill when using short airfields or avoiding weather. Most of us feel a bit edgy when the airspeed indicator creeps down to within 10 knots of the stall. So he gave some hints on how to be comfortable and in control, even when the airspeed is 20 knots below the stall. Yeah, if you Google Jim Davis and slow flight, you will actually find reference to the article on the internet now. It is one of the articles that seem to have made an impression on many people around the world and is being used. So what is slow flight? So the range between the published stall speed, and we'll stick to 60 knots for now, it all depends on what aircraft you're flying, of course, and your approach speed, which is 1.3 times the stall speed, which makes that 80 knots. That's the bit that really counts between those two speeds. This is where you find yourself near the ground, just before landing or just after takeoff. It's when you need to fly the most accurately, but it's also when the aircraft is behaving at its sloppiest. And it's a time when you are the most vulnerable to the wind. And of course, you are concentrating on many other things happening, especially in the circuit. And it's worst of all, it's the bit where you have the least practice. It's the only time you're close to something hard. So slow flight training and practice is useful because it helps pilots develop a finesse and the ability of the pilot to pilot the aircraft during slow speed maneuvers, which are inherently more challenging. So during slow flight, you will find that more power is required to maintain straight and level at low speeds. So slow flight helps pilots develop an understanding of the aerodynamics of slow flight, including a relationship between the angle of attack, the airspeed, the load factor, the power setting, weight and CG, airplane attitude, and yaw effects. All of these elements become very much more pronounced. And it also gives you the opportunity to feel what the airplane feels like at the seat of your pants. Because that's what counts, is what is the airplane doing. So when in slow flight, it's important to realize that small control inputs have disproportionately large impacts on the induced drag and airspeed. Your use of pitch and power will also need to change when you transition to slow flight. During normal cruising flight, and this is what most of you will have been taught at your flight schools, you use pitch to control altitude and power to control airspeed. Okay? All remember that from your class. But when you're flying in slow flight, these inputs are reversed. Okay? How many of you knew that? The pitch becomes the better controller of airspeed, and power helps maintain altitude. The reason for this dramatic increase in induced drag that occurs as you increase your angle of attack to maintain lift in slow flight. So in slow flight, you will experience speed instability. Thanks to the increased drag, your airspeed will continue to decrease if you don't compensate with the controls. So, slow flight exercise. How do you practice? So you do these two types of maneuvers. So first of all, to get into practice, just do things straight and level. So you do straight line approaches, climb and descend 500 foot a minute at various speeds and flaps. And you do this at convenient altitude. You do it at 7,000 foot if you're somewhere in the GF. You just climb and descend the whole time, up and down, up and down. And you do that at various speeds and flap settings. Once you're comfortable with doing that, then you do the same, but you do that in turning flight, left and right. You do rate 1 turns, also at the same various speeds and flaps. So I fly Charlie 182, and if you look at the numbers, you'll see that stall speed at gross is 55 knots, or 65 mile an hour, flaps up. 50 knots, flaps down. And your normal approach speed is 71 knots. So I took a video of doing an exercise going between 50 and 70 knots. Various flap settings going up and down. So you start with your normal approach speed, and then you look at an exercise going up and down, first at 70, then at 60, and then at 50. So I've done a video presentation on this, and you'll now start the video, and then you can see what we do. Okay, David, can you just switch on the video? Okay, I'm not sure if everybody can see that far away. So this slow flight exercise, you can just keep watching the ASI and the vertical speed indicator. So we're at 70 knots, and we're climbing at 500 foot a minute. So the indicator is in miles per hour, but we also know that miles per hour and knots correspond 70 knots, 80 mile an hour. So there we put down the flaps down to flaps 20, and you keep you adjust your power to keep it at 70 knots and 500 foot a minute. Go down to 30, and you do exactly the same. And of course, trim when you need to. I haven't got the full sequence in here. I've only done the sequences so that the video is then shorter. Okay, now we're going to descend, so we go the other way. To descend 70 knots, 500 foot a minute, flaps 30. So you just switch from one, you transition to descending. So you can see a lot of work on the throttle. Now we're going to reduce it to flaps 20. So typically this is what you do when you are taking off and you are in a slow climb or descent. Then down to flaps 10. That's all at 70 knots. Okay, there we take the flaps away, and we keep going down, flap 0. Okay, now we're going to go back into the climb. And now we're going to transition down to a slower speed. So first flaps 10, and we're down now to 60 knots. Okay, now you start to feel how the airplane responds in terms of control effectiveness. Now flaps 20, you can see where the airspeed indicator is, now down to 60 knots. Then now flaps 30. Okay, now we descend, so we go the other way again. Descends 60 knots, flaps 30. Then flaps 20. Okay, down to flaps 10. Everything's still at 60 knots. Okay, now we're at flaps 0, 60 knots. Keep it going down 500 foot a minute. Okay, back into the climb. Just reposition, climb at 0, at 60 knots. Now we're going to reduce down to 50 knots. 50 knots, climb, flaps 10. Okay, now you think that you're on the edge of the stall. You won't hear the stall warning because you're actually still far away from the stall. Okay, there we're doing 50 knots, flaps, I think that's flaps 20. Okay, flaps 30. And trim. Okay, you think that you're just about to fall out of the sky, but in fact you're not. So yeah, we're reducing the flaps again. Flaps 20, still 50 knots. Flaps 10. And then revert to normal flight. Now you do the same exercise, and now you do it with the right one turn, either way. This is just getting back to Kitty Hawk. 70 knots approach. Short final 60 knots, 30 flaps 30. Threshold 50 knots, flaps 30. Touchdown. Always try and hit the threshold. Nothing more useless than the runway behind you. Okay, that was just good sort of view on how to do slow flight, and it's something that you guys should put into your practice. As I say, I'm also a rally pilot, and the flight regime that we are flying in is everything is below 75 knots. Okay, so, and often when we get to a turning point, which we have to bingo within 2 seconds, we start to hang on the prop, or we dive, or things like that. So it becomes quite hairy. So don't take somebody with you as a passenger who doesn't know what flying is all about, because you get thrown out a rot. Anyway, I hope that was interesting and insightful, and something that you guys can practice. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Rob. And if we have any questions for Rob about slow flight and or joining rally flying as a sport, please chat to him either personally or in the panel discussion that's going to happen after this. All right. I have 2 messages. One is, how is the pizza? Who's enjoying it? Excellent. And the other one, the bit of information that I need from everybody or would like to share, is as follows. Stand by. This is the pizza pasta buffet that happens every single year here at Villa San Giovanni. And tomorrow is the official start for 2023 pizza buffet. It happens from the 6th to the 8th of December. And it's 109 Rand per person, and you can eat as much pizza pasta as you like. And Christian would like, sorry, say? What did I say? Oh, is it? Rehan? It's a date, eh? So it's 109 Rand per person. But if you book a table and you come to the pizza pasta buffet, and you show them that you've been to this Wonderboom Symposium, you will get a free drink, which is, show them this, it's like a martini fiero and tonic. And it's you'll get that as a free drink. So really some awesome value from Villa San Giovanni for their pizza buffet happening from tomorrow night. Thank you so much, Christian. Woo-hoo. All right, so with that, I am going to enter into the next part of our evening. Very quickly, before the next speaker, who is Santjie White, we have a question. Question 1 of 4. There's only 4 questions here of the Pilot Insure Aero quiz. For each correct answer, we're going to select one person who has given us the correct answer, and that person will win a voucher for an intro flight. But your question is, but we all pilots, or most of us are pilots, why would we want an intro flight? The answer is, it becomes your responsibility to go and find someone who wants to learn to fly, or you have to convince someone to come and at least get into flying, and they will have their first intro flight sponsored. Question, Marcus? Oh, Marcus already has someone that he knows wants to give an intro flight to. So let's go with it. Marcus, what's the answer? Wait, I'm going to read the question. Question 1. In the original movie, Top Gun, Tom Cruise's character called Maverick flies a specific aircraft. Is it A, an F-14 Tomcat, B, F-15 Eagle, C, an FA-18 Hornet, or D, a F-16 Fighting Falcon? And it was Marcus who was the fastest finger first. Marcus, tell us, who was it? F-14 Tomcat. Correct, Marcus. Come and get your voucher. And that Marcus will come up and get his voucher. Exactly, it was a Tomcat. This voucher is specifically sponsored by Blue Chip Safe Flight School. Thank you very much, Ronell and your team. We really appreciate you. Come and do a photo around this side. We'll get all of them in one photo. Question 2. What airport has the longest runway in the southern hemisphere? And I've got, the first was over here. It is indeed Uppington. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Please come and get your intro flight. This intro flight voucher is also sponsored by Blue Chip Aviation. Marcus, don't go anywhere. Where are you? Oh, yeah. Perfect. Come and stand here, sir. Congratulations. What's your name? Gerard. Hey, Gerard. Thank you very much, bro. Well done. There we go. All right. Fun fact. Stay up here, please, Gerard. Gerard, stay. We just are doing one photo. In fact, it's not FAOR. It is indeed Uppington. Fun fact. It is used as a backup for NASA spacecraft that are coming back from space. At a length of over 5 kilometers, its position is perfect for the orbit of the aircraft, the spacecraft coming in. Didn't you want to tell us that, Ethel? You had all that information. Thank you. All right, question number 3. In the movie Catch Me If You Can, Frank... Let me finish reading the question. Frank Abagnale, which is Leonardo DiCaprio's character, pretended to be an airline pilot for which airline? Was it A, TWA, B, Delta, C, Nationwide, or D, Pan Am? Who was it? Sorry, Michael. Blue Chips. It was Pan Am indeed. Come up and get your prize. All right, and fun fact about that is Frank Abagnale was the story about him was a true story, and he actually he flew over 250 flights in the jump seat pretending to be an airline pilot. How's that? Okay. And over 1 million miles to 26 different countries. How's that? All right. Question number 4. What is the most popular turboprop engine in aircraft history? Is it A, a GE, B, a PT6, Pratt & Whitney Canada engine, C, Rolls-Royce, or D, Rotax? It was this gentleman over here, this young man. No, the guy with the hat. Say again. Rolls-Royce is not right. Over here. It is indeed the PT6. Come up. Here we go. Congratulations. Intro flight. Congrats. Well done. All right, your intro flight from... Okay, those last 2 intro flights were sponsored by Legend Sky Aviation. Matthew, your Easter. Dankie. Can we have everybody up here for a lovely photo? Thank you. Come along. There we go. Don't look so chuffed about it, hey guys. Gee whiskers. All right. Squeeze in a bit. Squeeze in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Show the voucher. All right. Very good. Thank you very much, everybody. Congratulations. So now it's your guys' responsibility, if you already fly, to go and find someone and inspire them to bring them and do the intro flight. All right. Brilliant stuff. It is indeed a Pratt & Whitney PT6 turboprop engine. Correct. All right. Our next speaker, Santjie White. Santjie, are you ready? Woohoo. Santjie, an aviation search and rescue specialist with over 38 years of industry expertise, will be joining us as a speaker tonight with her wealth of knowledge and experience. Santjie is set to enlighten us on the crucial topic. Here we go. I got it right now. Proper pre-planning prevents poor performance, Patrick. There's another P, exactly. For people. All right. About Santjie White, with a remarkable career spanning nearly 4 decades, Santjie White has become a respected authority in aviation search and rescue. Her expertise honed through years of practical experience and continuous learning has made her a guiding light in the industry, and I think everyone can actually attest to that. Santjie's dedication to enhancing safety protocols and emphasizing the performance of proper pre-planning has contributed significantly to aviation. Santjie also runs her own safety events at Brakpan Airfield, FABB, and at Springs as well, and Krugersdorp. You don't have to go to the Krugersdorp one. No, I'm joking. Krugersdorp. Shout out. Please support Santjie's events. They are very cool to be safe. Am I right? Everybody, Santjie White.
Thank you so much. Ek gee maar nou eers 'n les met hom. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks once again for the privilege to be here with you tonight. Yes, let's talk about proper planning prevents poor performance, because in my 40 years of aviation experience, accidents never happen the day it happens. It happens sometimes months before the time, because we fail to plan. We kick the tires, light the fires, and off we go. I love to come to airfields like this, undercover, and I will sit and I will watch, and it's actually amazing at how many pilots walk out to the aircraft, get into it, and off they go into the blue yonder. And then when they don't come home, people wonder why. So this is a bit of planning. It's a few tips. And I always say when I do these presentations that if we say one thing tonight that saves one life, job well done. So people, let's do this. So, what is our biggest danger in flying? It's our attitude. So obviously if we don't plan, we're going to quickly kick the tires, light the fires. Is that the right attitude for safe flight? Really don't think so. Why do we need to plan? Because planning is the process of thinking regarding the activities required to achieve a desired goal. And in this instance, we want to fly safely from point A to point B. And we don't want to give my wonderful team I left behind when I left the ARCC, and they are incredibly competent, and I'm so proud of them, but we don't want to give them work because it's not good for the soul. Planning your flight. Planning conducted prior to the flight in a low-stress environment can enable a pilot to produce a safe strategy for the flight. Guys, if you come and sit here in the foyer or coming in here at the airfield and you could quickly do your flight plan, was it done properly? Are we going to have a safe flight, or are we just going to be lucky? Remember, those luck buckets are wonderful things, but sometimes those luck buckets runs empty, and then we're in trouble. Pilot can be proactive and plan ahead to select a safe route and establish decision points during each flight phase. It's very important. When do we say this is not good? When do we say let's rather call this a day? Think about this. Do you have those plans in place when you actually do your flight planning? Collaboration decision making with ATC. People, I've been in the ATC environment, and most of these guys were my students that's sitting here in this team. And in my 40 years, I've never seen an ATC that ate a pilot. So we are supposed to be a team. They are there to help you when you're in trouble or when you're not in trouble. Speak to them. They don't bite. Weather services and other pilots will help to size up a general situation. We need to be there for each other. We need to help each other. Remember, I could have saved a life that day, but I prefer to look the other way. That's what a lot of us are doing, and that's not what we want. And obviously, remember, guys, we're moving into silly season, and we do funny things. It's unbelievable. Good pre-flight planning also reduces the workload once airborne. It's like Karen said, it's amazing how these presentations it's got one goal, safety, and they just go into each other. I have not spoken a word to Karen, but it's like she says, you need to know when and where to go from the beginning. Part of that planning should be contingency planning to be able to react calmly and effectively or efficiently if an en route diversion becomes necessary due to an emergency, technical, deteriorating weather, or an unwell passenger. And then also, if you fly with a co, does your co know what the plan is? If we go back to Sully Sullenberger, remember when that went wrong, he said the flight is his. He's got control. And that is probably one of the major reasons why that ended up such a success. Make sure that you both have the plan. Are you fit to fly? Since I left the ARCC, I've spent a lot of time on mental health, guys, and it's a big thing in today's life. This world is completely turned upside down. We need to make sure that we are mentally ready to do what we need to do. Sometimes you're flying alone. Sometimes you have passengers. Make sure that you are fit to fly. And let's go to the I'm safe. We all know that. Illness, medication, stress, alcohol, fatigue, eating. And everybody thinks, why eating? You need to eat. Your body needs fuel. Nothing flies without fuel. An airplane obviously won't fly without fuel, and humans can't fly without energy. Whether you get your energy from endless cups of coffee, like some of my colleagues there, or as a healthy diet, it's important to feed the system so it keeps running. Nothing flies without fuel. True story. Okay, this is a Santjieism. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you anxious? Are you late? Yeah, I've got to go now. No time for pre-planning. There's no pre-flight, no nothing. I'm in a hurry. I need to go. Are you tired? Are you excited? People, I've been through this. I've been in that ARCC on my own for many times. When the phone rang with an emergency, I did not have anything in me. I wanted to go and sit in a corner and cry because I was alone. I had nobody to help me. And I had no choice. I had to do what needed to be done. But that's all the stuff that you didn't look after yourself. There was no time for nothing. These type of things is not good to operate effectively. Believe me. I'm an old lady now. You can really believe me. I promise you. Are you fit to fly? Let's look at the hazardous attitudes. Go and identify any of these in yourselves. Anti-authority, that's CIA people. Nah, really? Impulsivity, I've got to do something now. Invulnerability, it will never happen to me. I've seen that so many times. You know that attitude of it will never happen to me? The day it happens to you, it's sad. And then this team of mine need to go and tell your families we're sorry. And unless you've done that in your life, you don't know what it is. You don't know what it does to you to do that, to have to break such news to a family. Guys, don't do it to your family, to us, to anybody. Macho, watch this. Hold my beer. Okay, and watch this move. People, I've seen this with my own eyes, eh? Resignation, what is the use? The fact that you are alive on this earth and the fact that you have the privilege to fly an aeroplane, there's a lot of use. Make good use of it and be good to each other. Take care, enjoy it, have fun. Flying is fun. How can an ordinary flight pilot expect to survive? It's just the lack of the draw, is it? Here's some food for thought. There's a difference between skill and judgment. Judgment is more important to survival than skill. Wow, interesting. The less skilled, self-disciplined pilot is often at less risk than an experienced pilot pushing to the limit. Hold this beer, check this move type. And you are as good as the last maneuver that went wrong. Isn't it true? If you are not aware of your personal limits, your first mistake is likely to be your last. People, you know what, one can do anything in this world, but make sure that your skills are there, that you can do it, because then you can. Are you ready to fly? And this is interesting stuff that I see at flight schools all the time. Is your license, your medical, and your logbook up to date and valid, or shall we do it later? Because if this is an attitude that happens, it becomes a norm and it's okay and we forget to do it, it's not important and all that stuff. Those things are important, believe me. We've just had a bad accident where the guy lost his life, and it is a total sad event to see the accident, the prelim accident report. Logbooks were not up to date, flight folios were not up to date. That's bad planning. You should not be flying. Are you ready to fly? Planning. Are your maps, your charts, and your flight guides up to date and valid? And did you check and interpret for both planned flight and for possible diversions? The weather currently is so volatile, is probably not the right word, but you can't predict the weather from hour to hour lately. So make sure that there's a plan in place. Are the necessary documents on board? And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's a reason why those documents should be on board, guys. Don't leave them behind. Have you completed and verified necessary weight and balance calculations and planned and checked and verified aircraft loading appropriately? Because this brings aeroplanes down. Don't try it because it hurts like hell. Have you created a distraction for a free climate for pre-flight, or stress-free climate for your pre-flight inspection? Guys, it's important. Make sure that you take your time in a stress-free environment, not on your phone, not with your camera, not with your girlfriend, and do a proper pre-flight inspection. Are you following the POH guidance on pre-flight inspections? When last have you opened that book? I think it would be quite interesting to see how many people open those POHs from time to time just to brush up on them. Is my safety gear checked for validity, stowed correctly and accessible once the aircraft is loaded? And question, have you ever tried to take out your fire extinguisher while you are flying? It's quite a job. Go and try. But make sure it works. Okay, your planning checklist. Guys, checklists are there to help us. And when you do your checklist, make sure that there's weather and no times. I heard something horrific the other day where somebody at our airfield said, I don't look at no times. Like, really? No times are there for a reason, isn't it? But yeah. So I know the FAA at a stage said that no times are just information, but we need to take cognizance that we need to know what's happening in this world while we're flying. Planning checklist. Guys, file that flight plan. It's an insurance policy. The minute that flight plan, you go missing or you lose contact or whatever on that flight plan, these guys jump up already because the ATC tower or the ATC, the area or approach control guys will alert them immediately. It's a wonderful insurance policy, believe me. There's nothing as bad as getting that phone call at 8 o'clock in the evening. My husband never came home, and now you need to try and find him in the dark. Don't do that. File that flight plan. Moving map and charts are up to date. Your airfield opening times, prior permission required if you do, and how to depart from and arrive to your aerodromes in accordance with the published procedures, as Karen mentioned. If you've got flight following in place, specifically or specially operating in areas where ATC radar or radio coverage is limited, make sure that you've got something like that. And if you do have something like that, tell somebody how to use it. If you've got an iPhone, guys, it's a wonderful thing. But when we lost a wonderful soul with an iPhone that was still on, we had to go to court in America to go and to get that information off that iPhone. They didn't want to hear that the guys had an accident, he might be alive, whatever. You had to follow the processes. So somewhere in a safe or somebody you trust, make sure that that password for that iPhone is available so that we can find you easier. Planning checklist. Once again, fuel, including your possible diversions. Weight and balance. Do we rely on our operations to plan everything, or do we take responsibility for our lives and that of our passengers? A lot of the guys that's got operations, the operations clerk does everything and everybody is happy. Maybe we must pay a bit of attention. Plan for distraction, and this to me is very important. If you are following your plan and became distracted by anything, such as a sick passenger, for example, or difficulty on the radio, positively identifying that as a distraction, and bring your mind back to what you were doing before the distraction occurred. Think, what was I doing before the event? What was I doing before my passenger got unwell? At what point was I interrupted? And how do I get back to where I was? Because remember, if the aeroplane is ahead of your mind, guess what's going to happen? Distractions often lead to error and can occur at any stage of your flight. And indeed, during pre-flight, if other things are on your mind, from the walk around to securing aircraft. Isn't that true? When we pre-flight, we need to pre-flight, not think about other things. Takeoff is optional. Landing is mandatory. True is the most literal sense for pilots. This rule applies to everyone. Don't take off unless you are sure that you can land. Guys, I've seen it so many times. I'm going to go around the pond, not a problem. The weather looks a bit bad out of there, but I will fly myself out of it. And then it doesn't happen. Hey? This can also be interpreted as don't start a project unless you are sure you can follow through or always finish what you started. In this scenario, you don't have an option. You've got to get that aeroplane done. It's not going to stop there at the BP garage up there in the sky. Never let an aeroplane take you somewhere that your brain didn't get to 5 minutes before or earlier. Instrument pilots in particular are taught to stay ahead of the aeroplane and to avoid trouble, or how to avoid trouble. Staying ahead of the aeroplane means knowing exactly where you are and where you're going to at all times. Pilots are always planning the next step, preparing for the aeroplane's arrival before it arrives. This keeps pilots aware of their position in the clouds and prevents them from losing track of the aeroplane's position as it flies along without any visual reference to the ground. And I'm talking here to the IFR pilots. Okay, VFR pilots, if I find you in the clouds, you're going to be in big trouble. Because I might not be sitting in that office anymore, but my broom still works perfectly well. And my broom can be used for two things. You can just think about this. It doesn't only fly. It will get you back where you should be and not do bad things like this. Preparing for the future, know exactly what you plan to do before you did or before you do it will serve you well in all aspects of life. People, it becomes a way of life. I mean, I live like that. I live like risk. What's the risk? You do it while you're driving your car, while you're eating, while you're doing anything. Always plan and always have an out. This was said by a very well-known airline pilot. Always leave yourself an out. Probably the most important rule for pilots is to leave yourself an out. Don't get yourself in a situation where there is nothing else you can do. It means never getting into a situation you can't get out of safely. Never get yourself backed in a corner with nowhere to go. And as I always say, those cumulus granatus things out there, if they are in the mist or in the clouds, that does not mean they don't exist anymore. They hurt like hell, I promise you. They don't go away. Pilots do this by planning for alternate routes, taking extra fuel, and always looking for an emergency landing spot, even when there isn't an emergency. Pre-planning prevents that bad performance. Whenever you make a decision, make sure you leave yourself another option in case things don't go as planned. And that happens as well. Always have an out. Do not take on the many versions of cumulus granitis available in this beautiful country. You're going to come second. There's no way. There's no two ways about it, guys. If you cannot see them, they still exist. A very well-known airline pilot in a loose formation with his friend in Luton Aerobatics event, surviving a VFR into IMC situation where he lost his friend, and fellow aviators said it so well in retrospect. We did not have an out. Always have an out. Emergency. Let's go through that. And that is not swear words, people. Why are you so scared to do this? Why are you so scared to say Mayday or PAN? That alerts ATC that you might have a problem and they need to take care of you. That's as easy as that. I don't have to teach you anything. So obviously PAN will be like a door opening in flight, landing gear not extending a sick passenger. Mayday? Engine failure, fire, structural fire, this aeroplane is going to go down, I can't keep it in the air. That's exactly what it is. Okay. We all know, aviate, navigate, communicate. Common approach to all flying situations, especially emergency conditions. Aviation studies have found that pilots get so focused on solving a problem in an emergency that they sometimes forget to fly the aeroplane. Go and think about this. This is real stuff as well. In one accident involving Eastern Airlines Flight 401, the pilots became so distracted by a burnt out indicator light in the cockpit that they actually flew the aeroplane into the ground. Teaches pilots to fly the aeroplane first, then navigate, and once the situation is under control, communicate. We can employ a similar tactic if we face an emergency on the ground. Act first, get your bearings, and then call home. Okay, and then these guys that's sitting here go, and don't you just want to stand up? Please? Pretty please? Okay. So people, this team here that's going to stand up now are the IRCC chief for South Africa, and then our SMCs. They are qualified air traffic controllers, and apart from that, they run the Aeronautical Rescue Coordination Center. And I told Greg that I will slip in 3 of his slides, so those are not mine, but I want you to take out your phones and take a photo of this. And if you don't want to do this, speak to Greg after the time and ask him where you can get hold of this, because it is incredibly valuable information on what to do when you need the ARCC. Okay, guys, and then obviously some guidance when you've got an aircraft emergency. There's your scorecards that Karen was talking about, interference, communication, and emergency. Take out your phone, take a picture, because these are the stuff that you just might need. Okay, or get it from Greggy, or ask him if you go to the ARCC Facebook page, you will find it there as well. And Lauren will be happy to help you. And then Greg has sent this to me today, and I sneaked it in as well. Flight planning over the festive season. Guys, this is not only flight planning over the festive season. It's actually flight planning all the time. So he's just made it nice Christmassy green or something, holiday green. But there's wonderful tips on what to do when you need help. What is really important for search and rescue? They need to know, who are you, where are you, what's wrong, and what's your intentions. From that, the information, they will start looking for you in the correct area. When we were looking for the Sim brothers in Mozambique, their mayday was overheard by an Etihad crew. And the Etihad crew obviously reported the mayday to Mozambique, who reported it to us. And it was a South African aircraft, and Mozambique very quickly said, we can't do this, Santjie, you need to come and help. So, as stupid as I am, we need to save lives here. I said, no, it's okay, Mozambique, we will do a search and rescue operation in your country, not the problem. But anyway, so the Etihad crew went on their merry way, but the only information they could give us is that the aircraft is in distress, and it's going to Beira. That's it. Not where it was when it turned, not what was happening, that was all. So we were looking for the crew, obviously, to have a discussion with them of what they overheard actually. And then that hurricane or whatever in America, I can't even remember her name, Diane or somebody, she struck, and these guys were sitting in a bunker in the USA, and we could not speak to them. All I'm saying is that if you ever overhear an emergency, ask these questions so that we can give it over to the search and rescue crews, because it's very valuable information. Do you know what's in your first aid kit? And here comes the tips now, no? Do you know what's in your first aid kit? And the other question is, if you know what's in your first aid kit, do you know how to use it? We all know that there's a first aid kit in the aircraft, but how many of us really know how to use it? If you had to use your first aid kit, and would you know how to bandage a wound? Do you know how to use that disposable resuscitation thingy key? Do you know how to splint a broken arm? And then obviously, do you have an ELT or a PLB? And if you do, is it registered? If you're not sure, speak to Gregory and his team. Guys, that ELT is worth nothing if it's not registered properly. And remember, when you register your aircraft, the ELT registration is not a simultaneous process. Our CAA doesn't work like that. It's 2 processes. So you now can't say that you didn't know it. You now know it. Okay. Survival kit ideas. And this comes from an accident or a search and rescue operation I did, where one of our own fellow ATCs was in an aircraft accident, and they were on a mountain in Modemole or something like that. And the guy that was with him was sadly injured fatally, but he was fine as fine can be. And discussions with him, people don't go without water. You must remember, a few years, lots of years ago, I had Opa Charles. Opa Charles was a 76-year-old Wimiki that went missing in the Kalahari Desert. And he had a half a bottle of water with him. And when he triggered his ELT, he decided to go and look for help in the Kalahari Desert. And you can imagine what happened. But we found him alive, and he was very thirsty and all those things. But what I'm saying, never go without water. A lighter. Maybe it's good to make not set the airplane alight, but maybe just make a little fire so that we can see where you are. A lightweight space blanket. When you are injured, you actually get very cold. It's the way it is. And the more stressed you are, the colder it becomes. A compass, pocket knife. Sometimes the safety belt's stuck. How are you going to get it loose if you don't have a knife? Are you going to bite it? Compass, mirror, power bank, because that's what we saw happen to him. Please just power banks, that's allowed. But yes, that's exactly what happened to him. Because we had this communication with him all the time, his battery started going flat. So he was very happy when the Oryx was hovering above him. And then an umbrella. And remember, the umbrella is not going to even not only help you from the rain, the umbrella you can actually collect water with. If you did a Opa Charles and you only took half a bottle of water. In conclusion, have I done as much thinking and planning on the ground so that if I meet trouble in the air, I will have sufficient capacity to aviate, navigate, and communicate? Do I have the right recent experience and skills level to execute the flight safely? That is just semantics. That was just that you believe every word I say. Do you believe every word I say? That's good, no? There's lots of experience in there. So I'm the former chair of the ICAO, ESAF and WACAF, which is Eastern African Search and Rescue Technical Experts Working Group. I'm the author of the very first AFI, African and Indian Island Ocean Search and Rescue Plan. They never had one until I wrote one. 40 years of ATM experience and 30 years of search and rescue experience. And because we join hands, others live. Fly safe, stay safe, and if you need a guardian angel, phone me, I will fly with you. Thank you very much.
Pretty vital stuff. Thank you very much, Santjie. And I think, I think everyone, if you didn't pick up a golden nugget there, then you were sleeping. And I think there were plenty to learn from. And why not use this opportunity to give away exactly what one of the things that Search and Rescue Santjie has recommended as to put in your emergency kit. And this has been sponsored by the ARCC. Thank you very much, Greg. I need to walk all the way there again. Please bring me those pieces of paper. Right. So I'm going to randomly draw a name from the list of people that registered before the cutoff, okay? Because that's how your name got on this list, all right? So Anyone who registered afterwards, unfortunately, doesn't stand a chance to win a prize in the in the rest of the draws. Okay, so Greg, give me odd or even. Odd, all right. Sorry, unlucky. All right, give me Santjie. Give me 1 or 2. 2. Oh, unlucky. Your name is on that list. Can't work with unlucky people. All right. Rob, give me a number between an odd number between 1 and 37. 19. We have Sean Gerber. Hey! How's that? Number 19, buddy. Congratulations. Lasse. It's a power bank to put in your emergency kit. And if there's anyone that does enough flying, it's this man. Believe me. Holy crap. Let's do a quick photo, yeah?
The last one got stolen.
There we go. Nice one, Sean. Congrats. Round of applause for the ARCC and for Sean, everybody. Oh, very nice. Okay, next up we have our next speaker, and I still don't have everything I need. Sorry, babe, thank you. My wife, everybody. Round of applause, I think, eh? Without her, this event wouldn't be what it is. So thank you, babe. You're the bomb. All right, our next speaker is Rehan van Tonder, everybody. And I'd just like to read a little bit about young Rehan over here. If you give me a minute. He's got quite a long bio, so I'm just going to read like the first paragraph and then the last paragraph. And there's quite a lot of cool stuff in between, but there's enough cool stuff in the first and last paragraph to do it. Rehan is a graduate from Coventry University in the UK, holding a master's degree in business administration, a master's degree in aviation management with distinction in all subjects, even maths. And I'm joking, and distinction in all maths, in all subjects, a master's degree in international relations and global politics from the UMEF, the University in Geneva, Switzerland. Rehan is an expert in restructuring aviation companies, management and improving efficiency standards. He is a senior figure in the aviation industry with a total of more than 25,000 flying hours, of which more than 15,000 are as an instructor and evaluator, a type-rated examiner, on high-performance aircraft such as the Boeing 777. How's that? And he holds numerous flying and management distinctions, amongst which are the following. I'm actually just going to read the whole thing because it's actually so interesting. Director of Flight Safety and member of the Flying Control Committee of the Dubai International Air Show for the last 20 years. How's that? Anyone been to the Dubai Air Show recently? It's amazing. Hey, are we in agreement? Airline management. Rehan restructured the National Cadet Pilot Training Program for Emirates Airline. Rehan is a graduate of the American Flight Safety course, qualified as Flight Safety Manager of Safety Systems and Procedures, as well as being qualified as an International Flight Safety Accident Investigation Officer and Accident Prevention Manager. So if there's anyone to listen to about safety, it's this man. Rehan graduated in Effective Management and Leadership Techniques by J. Thomas Miller III, President Leadership Seminars Association in South Carolina, USA. Rehan also graduated in Organizational Time Management. That's always a big one for me. Time management. Hello. Graduated as a fighter and engineering test pilot in the South African Air Force. I think that speaks for itself. Where he flew the Mirage F1, the Cheetah, the Impala Mk1 and 2, and Harvard aircraft. He completed various management courses at the SAF He completed various management courses at the SAF Officers Academy, where he also awarded the prestigious Top Gun Award as the SAF's best fighter pilot and completed more than 50 operational sorties as a fighter pilot. Holy moly. Rehan also ejected out of a jet fighter at 10 meters above the ground and is still over there to tell us his tale. Hey? All right. And Rehan has amassed more than 600 low-level flight displays in various high-performance aircraft and has achieved Springbok colors for aerobatics, and he has also displayed the Sukhoi Su-29 at the Dubai Air Show in 1999. And that was for the Shell Aviation Fuel Company. I think we're in the presence of greatness, everybody. Please put your hands together for our final speaker of the evening, Rehan van Tonder.
Thanks very much. It's hard to continue after that. I was hoping that you wouldn't read so much, but okay. Let's keep going. First of all, thank you very much for everybody that came out. It's a little bit late. For those who stayed, thank you very much. I see people from all across the world. Namaskar, Assalamu alaikum. So I hope that you will enjoy the presentation, and please feel free to ask questions as we go along, or afterwards, if you so wish. And the topic today, as we can say, it's the good stuff of aviation. So smoke on, go. Here we go. So this is what one of the greats in aviation said: don't limit yourself. Don't try and do your best. Try and do better than your best. Sometimes you don't know actually what your best is. So the idea is no limits. A lot of people set goals, and then the goals are reached very easily. Okay, if you don't set any more new goals, then you don't develop. So that's a big topic of tonight, is be better than your best. So this is what I thought of just some time ago, and for those that can't see, the presentations being projected to the screens as well. So a lot of experience is needed to become a pilot, and experience gives you confidence. And then aerobatics is actually one of those things that supply you with confidence in your flying skills. So don't be good, become great. So keep on learning, and you'll never look back. I was just on a side note. I was speaking to Kobus the other day, and I was saying to him, I was on the 777 for 25 years, and even in the last year, I learned something new, and said, "Wow, I didn't know that was possible." So even after 25 years, you can learn something. So for all those aspiring aces of the base, or want to be an ace of the base, learn to fly aerobatics. That's the way to go. So flying aerobatics, just the basics then. I'm going to go quite fast through the basics and get to the good stuff later on. So you have the number one rule of aerobatics is discipline. So we all heard about the team that spoke earlier about discipline. Santjie, thank you very much for that. I actually took a couple of notes from your presentation. So discipline is massively important in any flying, and it becomes a critical aspect of learning to fly aerobatics. You will definitely expand your knowledge. You'll learn new things, new aerodynamic principles that you maybe not been exposed to before, and then instructors that are available in the various places that you can go and learn aerobatics. They are very highly skilled individuals, and they'll be able to guide you through the process very well. The training is on a different level, very intense, and yet again, coming back to what was previously said, safety is our number one priority. So looking at discipline in aerobatic flying, there's a golden rule: if it's not briefed, it's not flown. It's very simple. As was reiterated earlier, there's a lot of pressure on you sometimes if you are, depending on what you are. Do you want to be a recreational pilot, aerobatic pilot? Do you want to be a competition pilot? Do you want to be an airshow pilot? These things all put pressure on you on the day. And I use the 3-strike rule as an example. You know, I didn't sleep well. I'm really feeling a little bit off, and I'm running late for the flight. And the answer from here is just don't fly. You have to have the discipline to say no. So that is critical. As far as knowledge is concerned, you'll learn a lot about what your aircraft can do before you even get to the aircraft. The aerodynamic principles involved are of critical importance. So if you're going to fly a new maneuver, then you need to know what the aircraft capabilities are before you actually do it. I'll give you an example. I was flying in the Smirnoff Aerobatic team, and we were trying to do the mirror flight, and then we said, well, mirror flight is easy. Let's see if we can take the two airplanes in mirror flight and roll it together. So the process, the outcome is easy if you look at the outcome, but the process is completely different, where you look at what the process is going to be to get to the desired outcome, what the aircraft capabilities are as far as aerodynamics is concerned, and how you're going to get there. So Dennis Spence and I, what we did is, he was doing the negative part. He loves negative. Good luck to him. I'm not with him there. So negative 4 Gs is not the best thing in the world to do. So we first started looking at me just following him as he was doing the negative barrel roll, and then I was slowly creeping in until the time where we could actually be in full mirror formation and roll the two aircraft together in close formation. It was the first time that that's ever been done on a pit special aircraft, and it took a lot of training to get there, let me tell you that. But the idea was to have a safety plan, not to just go in and say, okay, let's try it and see what happens. As was mentioned before, proper planning prevents all the other Ps, which I won't get into. So we are having a laugh at that, because in the Air Force, we sort of had a different version of that, a little bit more explicit. Okay, so here's some statistics for you. Okay, so 25% of all GA incidents and accidents stems from the pilot losing control. So, okay, what do we do about it, and why does it happen? As was mentioned previously before by Karen and Rod as well, you know, comes normally in the slow flight regime, and that's the thing that I want to address a little bit today. You know, you have Megan from Infinite Aviation. There she is. So if you don't know about density, altitude, the temperatures that we're operating at the moment, there's Megan just walking in, and you can ask her, and she'll explain it all to you. So here is just a little bit of a graph, but basically what this graph displays, the graph displays your stall speeds, as you can see, negative and positive. So at the top part you have your positive stall speed, and then the bottom part you have your negative stall speed if you fly aerobatic aircraft. So if you're at 1 G, let's say your aircraft stalls at 50 knots, but if you increase your stall speed, your G in the aircraft, the acceleration on the aircraft to 4 G, then the graph shows that your stall speed actually goes up exponentially. So at a 4G regime, you won't stall at 50 knots, which is normally indicated, or maybe normally that you're normally used to. Now you stall at 100 knots. So that's quite interesting if you are on late base and you're getting pressurized and you want to turn in, and there's a bit of a tailwind on base leg, and you can't see the runway properly, and you start pulling on the aircraft in order to get your turn into base. You look down at your airspeed indicator, and you see I'm doing 70 knots. No problem. My stall speed's 50 knots. Not a problem at all. Well, is it? So if you then look at just a little bit of mass, as was mentioned previously, don't worry too much about the mass. Basically, what the mass says is that if your stall speed under G, and you want to know what it is at a certain G regime, and your basic stalling speed is 50 knots, and you're pulling 4 G, so you can see the graph and the mass work out, so then you are stalling at 100 knots. So here's a scenario. You are turning base, you can't really see the runway, you have a tailwind on base, You're starting to put G on the aircraft. You look down at your airspeed indicator. Yeah, okay, I've got 70 knots, no big deal. And then all of a sudden, you stall. And you wonder, how can I stall? I was doing 70 knots. Okay, it's because of the G loading. So, Kobus Turin over there, Officer Commanding of Fighter Squadron in South African Air Force, we're just talking about it. You know, no G, no stall. It's very as much as that, but it's incremental or exponential. That if your G comes up, your stall speed also goes up. So here's just an example of aerobatic flying. How aerobatic flying will actually increase your capability in your flying skills and things that you would notice. You know, it's more about, if you look behind me, you can see it's about a loop. I want to go into a loop at a certain attitude. I want my pitch, my roll, my yaw to be where I want it. And then I want it to be nice and balanced in the initial part of the loop. And then the G-force that I pull on the loop, if I pull too sharp, I'll go into the loop. And if I don't pull enough, then I'll go to the outside of the loop. I won't make a round loop. So the idea is that these are all indicative of gates, and we check our attitude, our balance, our G-force, our speed at each of those gates in order to make sure that we do proper planning so that we know when we are at each of those gates where we're going to end up. And the most important gate that Rob mentioned before in a GA environment is when you are on base leg and you're in your slow speed environment and you start putting loading on the aircraft. So other things in aerobatics that you will be exposed to is different maybe to the normal flight regime that you're flying in the GA environment is an extreme expression of torque, prop wash, things like that you're not normally used to in a slow speed and also high speed environment. So the point that I want to leave with you today is every time that you go and fly, it was mentioned before as well, that you have a gate. You're taking off, you have a gate. Do I take off here? What happens if I in the takeoff roll and I get an engine failure? Have I got a plan B? Have I got an out? Was mentioned before. Where am I going to put the airplane down if it happens? So please always think ahead about what is the gate that I'm at the moment and what is my out at this gate. At the top of the loop, if you're either too fast or too slow, it's going to influence where you come out at the bottom. So it's much easier at the top of the loop to roll out and just continue on flying rather than continuing the loop. And all of us has got a little bit of macho in us, but you've got to be disciplined enough to say, okay, this didn't work out for me. I'm going to roll out and just try again or set it up again. So general concepts, just as a closing off. I'm not going to be too long. If there's any questions, we'll take it on later or even after the presentation. Hours versus experience. So we got to measure experience or our flying progress in a certain manner. So normally we're looking at hours. So it was mentioned before, Rob mentioned it, okay, why don't we just do something different in order to gain the experience by slow flight exercises, as was mentioned before. These are very important. Do we know the aerobatic or aerodynamic principles involved? Do we know the lift formula and what that actually means to us? And how does that influence us in a high density altitude as we are today? And the most important thing that aerobatic flying will teach you is to fly by feel rather than to fly by numbers. So if you feel the aircraft is starting to get a light shudder on it, then you know you're close to the stall. And it's not easy sometimes to recognize it because maybe there's some turbulence or other environmental factors that will prevent you from that feeling, to get that feeling what the aircraft is doing. But the more you become accustomed to flying at low speed and high speed regimes, as was previously mentioned, the more you will feel what the aircraft is doing for you and to you. As an example, in days gone by when the Tiger Master was flying, it was all fly by feel. The aircraft's got enough speed, I can take off. The aircraft is low on speed, I must land, as an example. So fly by feel is what aerobatics will give you, rather than to just fly by numbers, because depending on the situation, the numbers can lie to you. Instead of having a stall speed of 50 knots, you're having a stall speed of 70 knots. That 20 knots, it might be just 20 knots too little or too much. So remember the gates, everything is a gate. Joining overhead is a gate for ATC. Correct procedures, correct RT. These are all gates. Remember, plan ahead and know what your gates are. Know where you should be in each of those respective gates. Like the top of the loop, I am too fast. If I continue pulling, I'm going to come out low. In actual fact, in display flying, you have safety officers. There's Kobus Turin, safety officer as well. He will tell you that you actually have a safety officer on the ground that you actually have to read out your speed and your height at the top of the loop to make sure that you're not too fast under certain circumstances or too slow. So these are all things that come into play when it comes to aerobatics. So then this is something just as a last parting gift. Flying is actually very easy, but to fly well is very difficult. And to fly to perfection is almost impossible. What we need to strive for is perfection. And of course, aerobatic flying is very much in the fun bracket. Thank you very much for your time. If there's any questions, I can take one or two questions now, or Dave, when you're ready, we can take the rest of the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rehan. I think while you're up here, Rehan, why don't we give away the prize that Rehan has sponsored? Rehan owns a Tiger Moth aircraft, and hearing about all the giveaways that we were doing tonight, has sponsored a flip in a Tiger Moth. So here is the voucher for that. Everybody, a round of applause for Rehan. Thank you very much. And let's determine our winner. Right, back to the list, hey? Have to take Sean's name off. Okay. Leandra, odd or even? Even this time. Shame, can't work with all these unlucky people. Let's get rid of their lists, all right. And Laura, give me 1 or 2. 2 again, all right. Sorry, unlucky people. There you go. Rion, give me a number between, there's not many here. 2, 4, or 6? 6. It is Whitney Oliphant. Whitney, the ATC Oliphant. Hello. There we go. Congratulations, Whitney. There we go. There we go. Rehan is your prize winner. There's your gift. And let's stand there for the photo. I'll get in there too. I say, well done, Whitney. Look forward to it. Thank you very much, Rehan. I really appreciate it. I think we've all definitely learned something there. All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break just while I set up the stage, or have the stage set up for the panel discussion, and we'll get going in about 5 minutes. All right. So talk amongst yourselves, order some more drinks, and if you haven't had enough pizza, just let them know, and they'll bring you another one. Okay. Thanks. question and answer session. Rob is up. Rehan, we're looking for you. Karen, where's Karen? Karen, please come through. And Santjie. I'll say. All right. I'm going to have one roaming mic, and then you guys share one mic over there. All right. And then we still have to give away, so don't go. We still have to give away the weekend away at Bona Bona, a wine hamper, and a 750 Rand pilot shop gift voucher from Vector Aviation, and as well as a very cool Pilot de Beer infographic poster, which is super, 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 super cool. So thank you very much. So don't go away. All right. Can we have, who had the first question or a burning question that they would like to ask one of our panelists? Just a big reminder of the talks. Rob's talk was on slow flight, and Rehan's was aerobatic flying and how it will make you a safer pilot. And Santjie's talk was pre-planning prevents poor performance for people. And Karen Matthews' talk was general radio procedure and runway safety. Ethel, have you got a question?
Thank you, David. One of the subjects that's very, very close to my heart is what's called pilot distraction. And we're seeing more and more accidents and fatal accidents due to this thing in your hand called a cell phone. How many of you drive your motor cars and try and make a telephone call or do a WhatsApp while you're driving? Hands up. Be honest. Hands up. How many of you do this? Raise your hands high. Raise your hands high. Okay, so there's a whole stack of you. Now, how many of you play with this thing when you're doing your pre-flight? When you're doing your pre-flight? How many of you are flying along and you decide, I want to do a selfie? Hands up. Yes, you put your hand up. Okay. Right. There's recently a story that I published of a young man who was he was flying a 182 in the United States. And he was doing power line patrols in the United States. And 30 seconds after making a Facebook posting, he hit the guy lines of one of the towers. And of course, he died in a heap of flaming aluminium. That was his last posting in his life. Are you guilty of that? Think about it.
Thank you, Ethel. Less of a question than more of a statement, so thank you very much. All right. Can we have a question from the floor? Have we got one? Bernard, here we go.
Thank you. Santjie, this question is for you. Sorry, let me move out behind the cameras. Santjie, this question is for you. In the last couple of years, we've seen quite a few of these satellite-based communicators like the Garmin InReach, the Spot communicator that you can use to send distress signals via satellites. I'd just like to get your take on that and comparing that to, for instance, a typical PLB or ELT. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. All of those things are amazing devices. But just remember one thing: when you use a Garmin InReach or something like that, the message will go to a third party before it gets to the ARCC. When you have an ELT or a PLB, because the ARCCs are connected to Casper SARSAT, it will come to the ARCC immediately, that distress signal. So an InReach and all of those things, I mean, I flight watch pilots ferrying flights back from, or aircraft back from the States and other places all the time. And I flight watch them then obviously via Garmin InReach. But if your flight watcher or the person that's on the other side of the InReach, they need to know what to do to get this team to do something when something goes wrong. So anything is better than nothing. But yeah, at the end of the day, first prize, ELT. Really is. The problem with the PLB, it's also a good thing. Just remember one thing, a PLB needs to be manually activated. And I've actually had an accident before where the guy had a PLB, but he broke both his arms while in the accident, so he couldn't press the PLB. So one needs to, it's not far-fetched, it happened. But yeah, so wonderful devices, make sure whoever is the third party watching it actually knows what to do when that distress signal comes through. Okay?
Thank you very much, Santjie. We have a question here. Richard?
Yeah, this one's aimed at Karen. What can we do to get the flying schools, especially from Lanseria and Grand Central, to stop reporting every 2 seconds? We're in a very good position at Warmbars that we hear the whole country. So much so that we actually switch down the radio when we're in the circuit because we're on 1248, and that causes problems. But, these guys, red and white radio mast, concrete tower, I just don't want to hear it anymore, please.
Thank you. Very valid question, and I think I touched on it in my presentation when to do a position report. So in uncontrolled airspace, it's only supposed to be every 10 minutes, or if your position changes significantly. How are we going to get them to do that? Slap them behind the ear? I don't know. I've got various methods of punishment, but I think at the end of the day, the best method would be training. Absolutely training. And that's why I went out of the training field for pilots a couple of years ago, because I concentrated on ATC training only. And from the beginning of next year, I will go back into pilot training, because I had a lot of success at Grand Central. At Grand Central years ago, it was the second busiest airport then, as opposed to Johannesburg International. Now Wonderboom is the second busiest airport. At Grand Central, I did all the flight schools training on RT procedures. I could put Rob left. The radar controllers will testify to this. I could put 12 aircraft in the circuit. Why? Because the radio work was like this. Short, sweet, precise, knew what to do, knew what to expect, and training. That's the only answer that I've got for you. Hope it helps.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Corin. And as far as we understand, you're putting together radio training classes for pilots next year. So
absolutely,
please reach out to Corin and get more details about that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Corin. Next question.
Hi, Corin. This is George. I also fly here in the, I call it the circus sometimes. Not really circuits, right?
Yes, I do work in the circus.
Corin, I've just got one question. And I think for me, it's what I want to take out of the safety evenings. Is I'm pretty much sure there's a lot of incidents happening at this airport. A lot of things is not recorded by the SACA. Whatever the incidents might be. And the question that I have, are those incidents, whether it's pilot related, whether it's ATC related, are those incidents somewhere being captured? And if it is that filtering through to pilot training?
Very valid question. We are obliged by our company, if it is an ATC specific related event, that we have to report it. If it's a reportable offense or incident, as ATCs we have to report it. When it comes to pilot incidents, yes, the flight schools have also got the obligation to report it. Sometimes when you are on your initial solo, you've got to take it how the severity of the incident was, and if it was just maybe an aircraft technical. We sort of approach it with, let's look at the severity of the incident And then after that, yes, we record it for statistical purposes. But if it wasn't that serious, we tried to educate. Educate as opposed to, the other extreme measures. So education or training is the solution to all our problems, I think. Yes, Wonderboom is a very busy airspace. The higher your air traffic control count, the higher incident rate will be at the end of the day. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Corin. All right, and the next question comes from
Paul. This goes to Ms. Corey. I wanted to ask, in the event that a student pilot is having the solo consolidations in the GF, then in the likelihood that they have a radio failure, plus they're the only ones in the GF, besides the radio failure procedures, what can they do?
So we touched on radio communication failure. First of all, the student pilot needs to know what the proper scorecard is that it needs to use. Remember, you cannot enter controlled airspace without a clearance. So if you're in the GF and you've got radio communication failure, you need to land in the GF or in any unmanned aerodrome. Thereafter, you can contact your flight school, and I see Litsavia is not here. Is Litsavia here tonight?
No.
You're here? Okay, and Eagle Air. Eagle Air, I saw some Eagle. So, in any case, then they would usually send out an instructor with a different aircraft to go and fetch you. So that is standard operating procedure with most of the flying schools over here. And guys, I encourage you, if it's not, please put something in your standard operating procedures that you can actually go and teach your student, if he's in the GF, to land at an unmanned airfield in the case of radio communication failure. Also, even if radio communication failure, before you send that student on his initial solo, he needs to know what to do in case of radio communication failure, please. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Wow, Corin, definitely the most popular panelist here tonight. Thank you, Corin. One more question from Marcus. I think this will be the final question, and if you have more questions, please go and chat to Corin directly. Thank you.
How's it, guys? I just want to thank all of you as well for your insightful information, but my question is for Rehan. Rehan, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of everybody. We really look up to people like you with as much experience in the industry. But my question today is, if you can give one sentence to an aspiring pilot to achieve the best possible success in their career, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a very valid question, and in the beginning of your career, you always struggle with that one, and I've mentioned it to a colleague from Jordan. He asked me the same question personally just a moment ago. So there are a couple of things that you need to look at. Number one is all the knowledge that you gained is never lost. So when you read your POH or you read a certain document pertaining to a certain procedure and things like that, it might not be immediately clear to you that it's actually important right now, but it might be important next week, next month, next year, next 5 years. Okay, so the first thing, if I can give you any advice, is you got to be ruthless when it comes to reading. Just read everything as much as you can lay your hands on, because normally in the beginning of your flying training career, you may be a little bit down on flying experience, so you have to really boost your knowledge in order to do that. We spoke about it earlier. Experience is not just doing a normal takeoff every day. Okay, what about short field takeoff, max angle climb takeoff, flapless approaches, things like that. That's where you gain your experience, and that's where the instructors come in. So in order to get your skill level up, you need to expose yourself to as many different scenarios as possible, because that's where you get the experience. But in order to do that, you need the knowledge to be applicable to that specific point. So knowledge, number one, experience, number two, in order to put in practice what you've learned or what you've read. with the use of an instructor. That is that. And then the next thing, and probably most important thing, and this is an aviation term, is your attitude. You know, if you have the correct attitude, is nothing is lost. Whatever I read now, I will use it later on. And a lot of people say, but this exam is stupid because I read it, I write it, and it's gone. Yeah, okay, gone when? For how long? Maybe for 1 year, 1 month. As an airline pilot, you have different challenges that will come your way. So you'll need that information, and that comes of attitude. KSA, you know, knowledge, skill, and attitude. That's my one sentence.
Epic.
More than one sentence.
Brilliant. Any last questions? I think, say again? The last question for you, Corin. And just some closing thoughts. Maybe one closing thought from Rob, and just before that, a closing thought from Santjie. Thank you.
Thank you. While my crew was sitting here, there was a discussion at one of these tables about search and rescue must be very expensive. People, search and rescue is very expensive. And I don't think I've done any operation for less than $1 million. But there's a wonderful but for all of you. It will never come to your pocket. Chicago Convention, Annex 12 to the ICAO Chicago Convention says that states shall provide search and rescue to the aviators. So if you file a flight plan, which is the most important thing, and something happens with you, that service is for free for you, unless, and that has never happened in my 38 years, because nobody gets up in the morning and decides that they're going to crash the aeroplane. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand that don't hesitate to file search and rescue. It's not for your pocket. It's for the state's pocket. Okay. As I said, the only time that they can recover money back from you is when you were negligent. Once again, I'm saying, if you wake up in the morning and you plan to crash your airplane, you know what? I don't think that's going to happen. So it's never happened in my life. I don't think it's going to happen in the next life. The state has got an obligation to search for and rescue the aviators when they are in an accident. Thank you.
Ethel, have you got a question, or is it another statement? All right.
This is rather an amusing story, and it's absolutely true. Many years ago, there was a fellow who took off from an airport in Gauteng in his Beach Baron, quite a new one. He told his wife he was going on a business trip. However, he had his sticky with him, and he flew down to a lodge in the Lowveld. What he forgot to do was cancel his flight plan. So he landed safely on the lodge strip, and when, at that stage, the Alouette helicopters found him from the South African Air Force, he was having fun with his sticky at the waterfall on the river. He had to sell his Baron to pay the costs.
Thank you. All right, Rob, just a closing thought from your side.
Yeah, just to latch on what Rehan also said, practice as many flight regimes as you can. I touched on one of them as being, flight in the slow regime. But there are many things in flight that you can practice on your own. You don't need an instructor with you. If you're comfortable in all the flight regime, just keep practicing it. And, fly with the seat of your pants. Understand what the aircraft is doing under you in all flights. Because that way you gain experience. That's really my parting comment. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. All right, and with that, I would like to present all of my speakers with a parting gift. Merry Christmas, Rehan.
Thank you very much.
for
Appreciate
that.
it.
And Rob, sorry, ladies first as always. I'm sorry. There we go. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Santjie. Lekker ding. All right. Can we just maybe do a photo with all of the speakers? Micheline, can I ask a huge favor that we move in front of the pilot's banner, please? Just this way, and then hold your nice thing here. And then I still have 4 more gifts to give away, which are really, really exciting. Rob and Corin and everyone, can we just do this photo right here? Come more over. There we go. Move in. Nah, it's fine. There we go. Can you get in there? Okay, wait. One more photo. Thank you very much, everybody. Everybody, our panelists for the evening. Please, big round of applause.
Thank you very much for everybody coming out. We appreciate it, and it's staying late, but as I said, there's some more prizes to come, I think.
We have. Thank you very much indeed. All right. So the last 3 prizes we're going to be giving away are as follows. The next, okay. So the social media prize goes to, so there was the social media QR codes that were on the table. If you scanned those, it took you to a link to all of our sponsors' socials, and there was a hashtag that you had to use. And if you used it, the person who used it the most gets the prize. And my wife was monitoring it because she's a social media expert. And the person is Chomarello. Chomarello wins 2 pairs of the flying socks. So these are the most comfortable socks you'll ever wear. And thank you very much for promoting everybody. Really appreciate you. Woohoo! Nice one. All right, so 3 more prizes. Okay, the next one is a sponsored. Can we, Marcus, come up and hold this thing? It's there's the voucher, babe. Can I have the voucher? It's a sponsored infographic poster which has got an amazing design on it, and it's educational and aesthetically beautiful, and it's designed by your very own Pilot de Beer right over here. And Pilot de Beer, Marcus de Beer, is opening up a shop, an online shop, where he will be selling these, and he will custom make them for you in your office. So a really, really cool idea, and I really can't tell you how awesome it is. I mean, I noticed these in the new blue chip pilot rooms over there, and I was immediately blown away. So, Marcus, thank you very much. All right, and here is your voucher, the next winner to your infographic. So hold on to that. Marcus, can we have odd or even?
Odd.
Odd. Do we have 1 or 2?
Definitely 1.
Definitely 1. Okay, so let me get rid of all the unlucky people. Shame. That's 1 even, 2. It's 1 odd, hey? There we go. All right. And can I have a number between 39 and 91?
51.
51 it is. Let's have it. It is Gregory Critchley. Oh, shame. Okay, the hard and fast rule is that you have to be here, but I think he deserves it, absolutely. So we'll bend the rules for Greg. Darcy, everybody, thank you very much. Huh? Oh, yeah, fine. I'll get it. Okay, can we do a photo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hold up the thing. Hold up the goodie. And over there. No, you're looking in the wrong place. Okay. Which way? There first? Okay. There we go. Okay. Love it. Thank you, Marcus. And I just want to say, while Marcus is up here, He promoted this event on his Instagram channel, and he got us an extra 15% in sign-ups. So a lot of you have Marcus to thank for such a full room. So Marcus, being an absolute winner. All right. Okay, next prize is the Vector wine hamper. Can we have, I was going to say Rehan, but there's much better looking people here. Can we have Leandra and Melinda please come up and present the Vector wine hamper and a 750 Rand. Is it Pilots and Planes? Pilots and Planes voucher. So that's quite a neat one, hey? You'll be able to buy some flying socks there. All right. Okay. Leandra, give me odd or even?
Even.
Even. Give me 1 or 2.
1.
Even 1. All right. There we go. Give me a number, Sean Gerber, between 8 and 48. Whoa. Etienne Venter. Hey, that's a... Etienne Venter. Okay, present. There we go. There's some photographs. Melinda, don't go away. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Squish in a bit. Beautiful. There we go. Waiting for the waiter. There we go. All right. Okay. Thank you, Etienne. Congratulations. Well done. Thank you, Victor. All right. So we have the main prize of the evening, and it is the Bona Bona Weekend Away. It is in their executive B&B for its 2 nights accommodation for 2 people. So don't take your sticky with you. Hey. And if you do, remember to cancel your flight plan. Hello. And it's valid until the 31st of March. And it includes 2 nights accommodation and a game drive and a spa treatment. Does it say that? Spa treatment. Yeah, there we go. All lodge holders transferable to Val. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this prize. Let's see who wins it. Hey, Matthew? Should we see? It's definitely not going to be you because you're not on the list. So, Matthew, odd or even? Sean, stop coaching him. All right, even. Etienne, 1 or 2? 2, even 2. There we go. All these unlucky people, please, away from here. Oh, well, there's, okay. Give me a number between 4 and 6. That's even. No, that's not even. I can actually only have 2 or 4. Go for 2 or 4. Oh, my word. Chomarello. It's auditable, guys. It's there. She's won 3 prizes tonight. A hamper, a pair of socks, and it shows. Just goes to show, if you're in it to win it, you've got the best chance. And I must just say, Chomarello actually participated in all 4 of the speed rallies last year, and the President's Trophy and 3 speed rallies with us in the SAP for Speed Rally season. So Chomarello, congratulations. There we go. Wait. One more. All right. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings to an end, does it? Nothing else on the agenda? That brings to an end the inaugural Wonderboom Safety Symposium. Congratulations and thank you to you for being a part of this awesome event. I'm going to say it was a great success, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next one. Remember, I am at this airport. My office is just across the way, so come and say hello. We have goodish coffee. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening and drive safe.